Welcome to T News 9 channel. Today, we're bringing you chapter 46 of The Cases That Wait, titled The Next File. Some cases end with a bang, others begin quietly, almost invisibly. The new file arrived without any urgency. There was no red stamp screaming for attention, no priority tag pushing it to the top of the pile. It was just a thin, unassuming folder sitting on my desk. And you know, those are often the most dangerous ones, the ones that try to sneak by. Honestly, I almost didn't open it. I was tired, ready to close up for the day. But habit is a powerful thing. A quick glance turned into a long stare. It was a disappearance case, a 23-year-old woman, last seen 3 nights ago. The details were different, a new name, a different part of the city, but the core of it felt chillingly familiar. That little pause in the sentence, last seen, that phrase always feels like it's holding its breath, just waiting for the terrible other shoe to drop. I read through the initial report once, then closed the folder, but something pulled me back. I opened it again. There was a tiny detail, something most people would probably skip right over. It was a short, uncertain witness statement. Just 5 words. He offered to help. That one word again. Help. Suddenly, the familiar noise of the office seemed to fade away. The phone's ringing sounded distant, like they were in another building entirely. I just stared at that line of text until the paper felt heavier than it should. My training in Arc 3 hadn't really taught me suspicion. It had taught me to recognize patterns. And I knew that true control doesn't announce itself with a trumpet. It introduces itself as simple, friendly assistance. I stood up, taking the folder with me. I didn't log it in the system just yet. Some instincts don't need permission slips. Outside, the city looked exactly the same as it always does. The cars, the people, the noise, it was all normal. But that's how it always starts, isn't it? A different street, but the same suffocating shape of silence. I had never met this woman. I didn't know a single thing about her life. But I recognized this beginning. And beginnings are the one place where things can still be changed. I went back to my desk and sat down. I picked up a pen and wrote my name on the file. This case wasn't assigned to me. It was chosen. This wasn't Lena's case. Chapter 47 of the novel. The Cases That Wait. Pattern recognition. Experience doesn't make you faster. It makes you quieter. I didn't call it a pattern out loud. Patterns scare people. They suggest failure before you have any proof. So I started with the timeline. Not where she disappeared, but where she paused. 3 nights ago, 9:40 p.m., outside a convenience store. The camera footage showed nothing dramatic, and that mattered. There was no rush, no struggle, just a conversation. She stood still for 42 seconds. That's long enough to decide something, but it's too long for small talk. The man wasn't visible, just the angle of her body shifting, opening up. People don't open themselves like that, unless they're invited. I replayed the footage slower, frame by frame, and there it was. A shadow crossing the glass, not approaching her, but waiting. The witness statement popped back into my mind. He offered to help. Help. Again. It's always help. I checked the transit data buses, rideshares, traffic flow. Nothing obvious, but that was the point. Control avoids records back at her apartment. Nothing was missing. Her phone was on the charger, her shoes by the door. Her life was interrupted, not abandoned. The neighbor mentioned she'd seemed relieved earlier that night. Relief is dangerous. It lowers your defenses. Back at my desk, I laid out both files. I didn't put them side by side. I offset them so the similarities couldn't hide behind coincidence. Different ages, different streets, but the same pause, the same word, the same decision point. I took a blank page and wrote one sentence. He doesn't take them. He waits until they step forward. That's not an opportunity. That's permission. The room felt colder after I wrote that. Not because of fear, but because of certainty. I closed the file. This time, I didn't hesitate. Chapter 48 of the novel, The Cases That Wait, titled The First Contact. The first contact isn't about questions, it's about permission. I didn't go in as a detective. I went in as background, a customer just like any other. The convenience store was so much louder in the daytime than it is at night. The coffee machine was constantly hissing, steam puffing into the air. The door chimed way too often, announcing every new person who walked in. All that noise, it gives people a strange kind of confidence, a shield to hide behind. I stood exactly where she had stood, on the same tile, looking at the same distorted reflection in the glass of the cooler door. 42 seconds doesn't feel like a long time, but it's an eternity when you're in the middle of making a life-altering decision. So I waited. I pulled out my phone, pretending to check messages, just letting the space around me do the work. He didn't approach me. That detail mattered a lot. He never makes the first move. He has this way of letting the moment lean toward him, drawing people in without lifting a finger. Then, a voice came from my side. It was casual, unforced, completely natural. Lines slow today. It wasn't a question, but an opening. A door cracked just a little. I turned slightly, but not fully. You never face someone like him head-on at first. He looked completely ordinary, and that's always the problem, isn't it? Mid-30s, clean jacket, nothing about him that would stick in your memory. I don't mind, I replied. Gives you time to think. He offered a small, controlled smile. About what? He asked. And there it was, the invitation. Whether to wait, I said, my voice even, or take help when it shows up. The words were too direct for a simple coincidence, but too soft to be an accusation. He was studying me now, not with suspicion, but with genuine curiosity. I help when I can, he said. People appreciate it. There's that word again, help. He always frames his actions as generosity. I just nodded, letting a moment of silence hang between us. People who crave control can't stand silence. They always feel the need to fill it. She looked stressed the other night, he added, his voice casual. Standing right here. He had just placed himself in the story, unasked and completely unnecessarily. I paid for my coffee. I didn't rush out, but I didn't linger either. As I walked out the door, I could feel it, that thin, invisible pull. The deep-seated need to be seen as good, as useful, as the chosen one. I didn't look back. The first contact isn't about getting a confirmation. It's about feeling out the alignment. And he had leaned right in. He didn't approach me. He waited for me to step closer. Chapter 49. The follow. You don't follow predators. You let them think you might. I didn't leave the store right away. Neither did he. That was confirmation enough. I stepped outside, waited, counted to 10, then walked. Not fast, not cautious, predictable. He emerged 30 seconds later. Too neat, too timed. People who are innocent don't sink their exits. I turned left. He didn't follow. Not yet. He waited for the second turn. Control hates being obvious. Reflections told me more than mirrors ever could. Windows, parked cars, shadows bending just enough. He stayed at a distance that felt respectful. That's how control disguises itself. I stopped at a crosswalk. So did he. Too clean, too rehearsed. I crossed. He hesitated, then followed. There it was. Permission. I ducked into a bookstore. Narrow aisles. Low noise. He didn't come in. Good. He was adjusting. I stayed long enough for uncertainty to settle. When I came out, he was leaning against the pole. Casual. Available. I wasn't sure where you went, he said. Not a question. A claim. I smiled. Sometimes I do that, I said. See who notices, he laughed. A little too quickly. People laugh when they need alignment. You seemed like you could use company, he said. Company is control's cousin. I nodded once. Not agreement. Acknowledgement. Then I stepped past him, kept walking, didn't look back. Behind me, footsteps didn't follow. Not now. He had learned enough. So had I. Following isn't about distance. It's about who's adjusting. And tonight, he adjusted first. He thought he was watching me. He didn't realize I'd already stopped. Chapter 50 of the cases that WAIT, titled The Test. A test only works when failure costs something. I didn't call him again. I let the city do it for me. 2 days later, I went back to the store. Same hour, same light, but this time, a different posture. This time, I looked unsure. Not afraid, just undecided. People like him don't respond to fear. They respond to opportunity. I stood near the door, checked my phone, put it away, checked it again. Signals become invitations when you repeat them. He appeared first in the reflection. It's always reflections with him, never straight on. Everything okay? He asked, his concern wrapped in perfect timing. I'm fine, I said, just waiting for a ride. A small lie, the best kind for testing. He glanced outside, a quick, assessing look. How long? He asked. There it was again, his obsession with time. Control needs clocks. Not sure, I said. They're running late. I shifted my weight, opening up space beside me. He stepped closer, not into the space, but next to it. Sometimes it's easier not to wait, he said. I'm heading that way anyway. And there it was. The offer. Help shaped like convenience. I smiled, then hesitated. Hesitation is bait. What if I'm not going far? I asked. He didn't ask where I was going. That detail mattered. I can adjust, he said. Adjust. That word again. People who genuinely mean well don't reshape their plans for strangers. I shook my head slightly, just enough to be a signal. No, I said. I should probably stay. This was the real test. Would he withdraw, or would he push? He stayed, just a second longer than necessary, long enough to feel wrong. All right, he said. If you change your mind. He didn't finish the sentence. He didn't need to. The unfinished thought was the hook. He walked away without looking back. I waited. I counted to 5. And then I saw it. He stopped at the corner, pretending to check his phone, waiting to see if I'd follow. I didn't. The test wasn't whether he'd offer help. It was whether he'd respect a refusal, and he hadn't. Not completely. As soon as I got back, I wrote it down. It wasn't evidence, but it was an indicator. Some people accept no, others just pause. Pauses are dangerous. He didn't take me, but he waited. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow our channel for more chapters. We'll see you next time.